From robot and TVs to 5G, the next big things in tech are on display at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas this week. Joining us now via Skype from Foster City, California, is TECHnalysis Research President and Chief Analyst Bob O'Donnell. Good to see you. What did you see at the show that those of us out in the real world are going to say, gotta have that?
Well, you know, the fascinating thing is, like you were talking about, there was all of these, 5G things everybody was talking about, but it wasn't so much about 5G phones at this show. It was about 5G PCs. Who would have thought, right? Here we are, it's 2020. I thought PCs were supposed to be gone by now, but clearly not. In fact, it was fascinating to see all the PC-based developments that were there, both from the big chip guys like AMD, Intel, Qualcomm. IBM had a quantum computer on the, when you walked into the show, at CES, right? I mean, it's fascinating. Then, of course, obviously, we saw all the other cool stuff, like Samsung has this 219-inch, or it might as well have been 219 feet TV called the Wall, the latest variation on that. Huge 8K display, lots of cars. I would say the biggest surprise, I think, of the whole show was when Sony rolled a car out onto the stage at the end of their press conference. Now, to be clear, they are not building a car, but the company is doing automotive technology. They're doing sensors for autonomous and assisted driving, obviously entertainment systems, a whole variety of things. It was pretty impressive, I have to say.
Bob, this might be a silly question, but what is CES for? In other words, yes, we know everybody rolls out their cool gadgets, but from a business perspective, what sort of comes out of CES that we need to know about?
Well, I mean, what comes out of CES, Julie, is you've got the traditional retailers, both now e-tailers and regular retailers, big box folks, who go and look for things they want to be selling and get the latest news from all the people. They sell a lot of that equipment. That's a big part of their business these days. And remember, now that includes people like Target and Home Depot, because we've got smart home products and all of those kinds of things. And then, of course, it's a place to meet. It's where, all kinds of meetings get done, all kinds of deals get done. And all over the world, even though obviously CES is U.S. focused, it's very much of a worldwide thing. And in fact, there was some discussion about how many Chinese-based companies were actually there at CES. That's been a growing trend for many years, but there were even more this year than we've seen in the past.
Hey, Bob, it's Heidi here. So you mentioned 5G earlier, but I want to dig into that a little bit and see how people actually at CES really felt about 5G. Do they really think it's going to happen this year? And how popular do you think it's actually going to be among consumers?
Well, it's a great question. Look, we continue to see this spectrum of stories around 5G in terms of the stories that these companies are telling. Here's the real deal. The real deal is 5G is going to happen this year in a fairly big way, because we're going to see just about all the major phone players start introducing 5G phones. Apple will have theirs in September. We'll see Samsung likely do it earlier, and lots of other major vendors. And the carriers are on board to get it out there. But, the robotic surgery, assisted driving stuff, look, that's not going to happen for several years. And there's a whole lot of other challenges going on. But people now are starting to buy phones, for example, for longer periods of time. So you want to sort of future-proof yourself by saying, hey, next time I get a phone, I'm going to get a 5G phone. We are starting to see 5G being discussed in things like manufacturing and automation. In some cases, even potentially replacing Wi-Fi or adding some other capabilities. We will see 5G in things like vehicle-to-vehicle communication, but again, down the road. So it's still very much of this kind of amorphous type of story around 5G. The discrete stuff that's going to happen in 2020, frankly, is mostly going to be phones. And again, as I mentioned, we'll see a lot of 5G-equipped PCs. All the big guys, Lenovo, HP, Dell, all talked about 5G PCs here at the show.
Interesting. A little retro, a little new.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.